Okay, now we're going to take a closer look at how environmental concerns are helping shape the fashion industry. We're joined by Elizabeth Cline from New York. Cline is the author of The Conscious Closet, a revolutionary guide to looking good while doing good. Elizabeth, thanks very much for joining us. There was a lot to like in that story that we just saw. Tell me a bit about the drive behind this. A shift in consumers, obviously, from fast fashion to secondhand luxury goods, but there's more at play.
Yeah, they captured a lot of the sentiment that I think really drives the enthusiasm behind secondhand shopping. One, it's a lot of fun. It creates community. Compare that to walking into a fast fashion chain, which probably doesn't really give you that same experience. But also, there really is this huge revolution of consumers who want to shop sustainably and ethically. And resale and secondhand shopping allows them to do that while still keeping up with fashion, rotating their closet. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. And luxury can be a pretty broad term, but what specific companies appear to be attracting shoppers, or is it just the overall vibe?
You know, I think that The RealReal recently released the top-selling brands on their platform, and there really weren't any surprises there. It was Gucci, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, but really resale shoppers in general, they're looking for value, so they're really interested in, getting that Diane von Furstenberg for 90% off, or even more accessible brands like Kate Spade or Tory Burch. They just want the value. Why would you buy H&M or Zara for $40 when you could get a luxury, high-quality product for the same price?
You talked about a couple of retailers as well, and in many ways, young people almost look at these as disposable clothes. When you talk about the high-end brands, Rolex, Louis Vuitton, they hold their value. To what degree does that really attract these consumers?
Well, I think that the other thing that the resale market is providing is a way for shoppers to recoup the investment on their clothes, because as you're pointing out, people don't really buy clothes for keeps anymore. They're constantly turning over their closet. So now you're able to resell your clothing on Poshmark or the RealReal or ThredUp, but really the only way you can do that is if you invest in good brands to begin with.
Let's talk about some of those brands that you were just talking about, the rise of these so-called re-commerce brands, RealReal, Poshmark. It really speaks to how secondhand shopping has matured in recent years. Are these companies going to have legs, and do you expect a lot more to kind of work their way into this fabric?
Yeah, I mean, ThredUp just had such an incredible week because now they're partnering with Macy's and JCPenney and doing little secondhand pop-ups in those department stores. So I think even traditional brick and mortar chains, department store in this market. And actually what we've seen is the maturation of the resale market. There really aren't as many players as there were a handful of years ago. Now we're really seeing the top players, the top performers, get out there and perfecting the market and just really giving a good experience to shoppers.
Vintage clothing has been popular for some time, but how does this differ from so-called vintage clothing?
Well, I don't think it does in some ways. Depop, for example, is a peer-to-peer resale website or app that's really popular with younger consumers, teenagers especially, and that's really driven by thrifting and vintage shopping. But I would say that the main difference between resale and what we think of as secondhand shopping from a generation ago is that it's curated. It's only good, high-quality products that are in really great condition. So, when you used to shop at a charity thrift shop, you were digging through things. A lot of it was dusty and dated. Now it's just the good stuff all in one place. So it's sort of replicating the retail experience or the traditional e-commerce experience, really.
Yeah, and as we saw in that very fine story by our correspondent, Hendrik, it really is like looking for buried treasure. To what degree do you think new partnerships are also being forged in these clothing rentals that you talked about that are popping up in department stores like JCPenney, Lord & Taylor, to name just a couple?
Yeah, I think here's a good example. ThredUp carries 30,000 different brands. No brick and mortar retailer can compete with that kind of selection. So the resale market just really has that treasure hunting variety piece of the retail puzzle down. So partner more brick and mortar retailers that are kind of younger consumers and who are looking for something different. They want a unique product. I think that that's great for consumers, and it's also going to be great for these that are trying to kind of figure their way out of this retail transformation.
Elizabeth, I'm going to put you on the spot here real quickly. One quick question. What you're wearing right now, did you buy it new or did you find it in buried treasure?
Oh, it's absolutely all secondhand.
Awesome.
Head to toe.
Elizabeth Cline, thanks very much. You walk the walk. I appreciate it.
I do.
And stay with us, everybody.